Sunday, November 14th,
2021.
2021. We have Christy Crawford and Michael Scruggs.
This is my dad, yo.
And Diane Clem is over on the side. Diane Clem Scruggs.
That's it.
Mama Diane's over there. She don't want to be on camera.
And
I'll say hi. Where are you? Hello. Okay.
You got what you wanted.
That's right.
Well, maybe, Mike, what I'd like to do is start out by having you introduce yourself.
All right.
So just like, I don't know, if we didn't know you.
Mike Scruggs, better known as Mike the Great.
Mike the Humble.
That's right, Mike the Humble. I do that sometimes. The VA or wherever will call me, and they'll say, "What's your social?" And I'll give and they'll say, "What's your name?" And I'll say, "Michael Scruggs, the Great," and they'll start laughing. Anyway, enough of that.
So give us a little bit of background on who you are, where you're from, when you were born, et cetera, et cetera.
Born in Milan, Tennessee, 1949.
Milan?
Milan,
Never heard.
not Milan, Milan.
Milan.
Is that like Milan?
Yes, like Milan, Italy.
Okay. We live on Tuscany.
With two N's.
So,
In 1949?
yeah.
What's that date?
I don't have a date. They never told me. We lived so far back in the woods. They didn't know dates. They knew years.
So you're saying when they found the stone tablet,
Yes.
the date wasn't on it?
No.
They ran out of
The
chisels?
month wasn't the month. The year was on it. It was in early Gaelic. Celtic, I'm sorry. Early Celtic.
All right,
July 11th, 1949.
all right, Mr. Funny Guy, what's your birthday?
July
just told
11th.
you.
July 11th.
1949.
Okay, I didn't hear it. Sorry. What I want to start out with is the call. I can't imagine what it was like. I don't know, what were you guys doing when we called?
Oh, the call.
It's like what were y'all doing? What's going through your mind?
I don't remember. I just thought, well, this is cool.
Really?
Yeah. That's it. That's all. The end.
We're done.
I will say the picture with the balloon was a huge relief.
Oh.
Christy, how did you feel when you got that picture with the balloon?
The one
Elated.
The one my daughter had out for you said it's a girl.
Yeah.
We talked about that last night.
Absolutely.
I was like, I know she likes me. She bought me a balloon.
Yeah. So
I can't.
Oh, God.
No, you go ahead.
I forgot what I was even saying.
I can't imagine, based on the conversations we've had in the last few days, you couldn't have been surprised. Like, I mean, at some point you had to think this could happen.
well, yeah, I did that from the first call.
Had you ever thought that could be a possibility before that?
Oh yeah, thousands of times.
Every time the phone rings.
Exactly. Is it another kid?
Am I the first one to show up?
We should
Are there
tell.
others?
No.
We should tell them about the joke where you said where I was teasing you about your war stories. Oh, never mind.
So,
No?
Oh, the word slut puppy.
oh,
Slut puppy.
I'll shut up.
You gotta tell that one now.
But
I was talking to her one day about some girl in California that I knew,
Mm-hmm.
and she said, "I like."
Oh,
She said, "I like." She said, "I like to hear your slut stories." And I said, "Diane, those women were not sluts." She said, "I wasn't talking about them."
All right, well, I'll skip because I mean that's a perfect transition to a time that when we talked about this yesterday, I was just enthralled. So tell us about 1985. You go to California,
Yeah,
and what was your job?
I was I didn't have a job when I went to California.
Well, when you got settled in,
I got settled in. I was doing construction work.
your weekend job.
I was a counselor working with kids. in group homes. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and getting paid for 40. So up and down the coast of California.
Which allowed you to travel.
Oh yeah, in my travel van. To be a slut.
Tell us about the Scooby van.
To be a Scooby slut. Scooby slut. It's funny. SS. I should have a T-shirt made like that, showing Scooby Doo on something.
You know your grandchildren are going to see this,
Yeah,
right?
of course. It's what makes it so cool.
I'm
If they're young enough, but.
I'm almost 51. You're 72.
Mm-hmm.
We all know where babies come from. We all know how all this works.
Yeah.
And
so it's not a big deal to me.
I know her, and now I know him, and this is not.
This makes sense.
Not out of the realm of possibility when we turn the camera
You were
on.
talking about dreams. Dreams. I've always had prophetic dreams in my lifetime. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
So it's not
About
necessarily
stuff that was supposed to happen in the future.
that my grandpa
and
was
has
you.
happened. And has happened.
Do tell.
So.
What's
there's too many.
What's the like one? Pick one that you're like
I
wowed
dreamt
by.
I went to jail, and I dreamt that I could tell you exactly what the jail looked like. There was 3 stories, 2 of it underground.
Wow.
Because it used to be an old wine factory, and they used to put the kegs down below the bottom so that they would keep cool. But when the county bought it, they bought it and turned it into a jail. And it had all these different corridors and all these different places and stuff. And 25 years later, I was in it.
You
How
forgot
old were you when you went to jail?
29.
So you were 4 when you had that dream?
No, I was 29. I had that dream when I was 20 maybe.
Oh, okay.
20, 21, something like that.
And you'd never seen it or pictures?
No, never.
Huh. See, I don't have
Because
dreams
I'd
that.
Because I'd never been inside that jail.
Right.
I had driven by it. It was the county jail.
Right, but you didn't know there was basement floors.
No, I didn't know anything about the jail.
Tell her about Memphis.
Memphis.
Your dream about Memphis.
Oh. Yeah, well, I call it my. You ever see the movie Groundhog Day?
I love that movie.
Okay. I got out of jail. I went home, of course. I had a dream that I woke up and went into the kitchen. My mother was in there cooking oatmeal, and my father was in there with my brother. And my father said, "So what are you going to do now?" And my mother said he was going to go to Memphis to be an AA counselor. And my father said, "Yeah, you got to be sober more than a year to do that." And I said, "Yeah." And my mother said, "Well, he didn't do that. He got drunk." And I said, "Yeah." But I didn't.
In the dream.
Right.
Okay.
No, I mean in real life I
Right.
didn't.
Okay.
So then I woke up
For real.
for real, and I went upstairs and the same conversation, same everything.
But you hadn't drank.
No.
So that was the only thing that was different.
Yeah. And so my father said, "So what are you going to do now?" I said, "I'm leaving." He said, "When?" I said, "Now."
That's perfect. That's perfect.
So that's when I left from there and came here.
So he gave you some gas money and
Yeah, he gave me a $100 bill. So
Now, this is your dad or your stepfather? Because I get them confused because you call them both your dad or your father.
my father. It was my father. I didn't have a stepfather until 20 years later.
When you were 49?
Yeah, after my father died.
Okay.
what was your dad's name?
Jamie.
What was he like?
He was a good guy.
Did he have red hair too?
Huh?
Did he have red hair too?
Did he have a what?
Red hair.
No. No, that was my mother's deal.
Really? Because this picture I saw of her, I thought she was like maybe a light brown.
No, early on she had red hair.
Ah.
So
What was your dad's personality?
he was funny. He was a jokester. He would make shit up.
So the apple didn't far fall
No.
from.
I'd be sitting somewhere and he'd be reading the paper and he'd come on an article and says, well, they found the Loch Ness Monster. They've got, and they're not wrong down here doing it. And I'd go, oh, wow. And he'd put the paper down and then walk out of the room. And I'd look all through that paper.
He said it was in here.
Make shit up like that. Or to get me out of bed in the morning, the phone would ring and no, I'd be sleeping and he'd wake me up and say, there's some girl on the phone.
That'll get you out of bed.
Yeah. Of course, I'd get over there. There'd be nobody there.
You'd be out of bed.
But
Yeah, exactly.
while you're up,
Yeah, exactly.
while you're up, get your chores done, get
Yeah.
dressed.
Or I'd come in the house and he'd be watching TV. And I'd say, what's this? What's going on? And he'd say, well, that guy there, he's a vampire. And this other guy, he chases vampires. So they think there's, And I'd sit there and watch that friggin' movie and never a vampire would show up.
Wow.
Or a werewolf. He'd say, that's
Who's teaching you to question everything? That's a good life skill.
But he was
Or
an
never
ace-
trust what he says.
He was an ace mechanic, though.
Was he?
Oh, he knew his shit. We had people all over the neighborhood used to come by and ask him X, Y, or Z. We had one guy once, Rob, came by and said, guess what I'm doing? And he said, what? All the guys were standing around. He said, I just bought a carburetor kit for my car and I'm going to put it together. And he was like boasting. My father said, sure you don't need some help with that? And he said, no, I'm good. So after he left, he said the rest of the guys, he said, he's in for a lot of trouble. He said, because that thing's got at least 50 moving parts. Little springs, and little needles and shit. 3 days later, he'd come back over the house with this box full of all these parts. And can you help me, please? It was funny as shit.
Yeah, a little bit of crow.
Yeah, and he taught me how to fish and how to hunt. So,
Did you guys spend a lot of time together?
as much as we could. So,
He worked a lot, right?
yeah,
What did he do?
he did construction, but he worked at Johnson & Johnson for close to 10 years as a material handler.
And that was in California, right?
No, Chicago.
What was I thought that was California.
So before all these hipsters were doing TV shows about it, he was flipping houses.
Exactly. Also. So,
I like the story of your mom buying the house. Can you tell that story?
Oh.
I thought that was amazing. I
well,
thought that was
my brother had
boss
severe
lady.
cerebral palsy. So they were always looking for a nice place to where he could be put in and cared for, which we never found. But she moved to Paris, Tennessee, her hometown, and with my brother, and of course my father had died by then. And this one organization was going to open a house in Paris, Tennessee, for people with cerebral palsy. And they interviewed my mother for my brother to go in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, he certainly seems, qualified for this. And she said, have you found a house yet? And they said, no. And she said, well, there's a house next door to me for sale. And she said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll buy the house. And you put my son in it there, and it'll be next door to me. And they said, okay. So she did. She bought the house.
Wow.
And he got to be in the house and right next door to his mom. So she could just step out the house and go see her son.
Oh, that's
Whenever she
awesome.
wanted, yeah.
And how old was he at that time?
48.
Oh, okay. So she'd been doing that stuff for a hot minute.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like an amazing story. She took the bull by the horns. Was she always like that?
That's a whole nother interview there, that story. I mean, the story of her life with him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he with her. That's a whole nother story.
And you there too.
Mm-hmm.
Off and on. More
She was
off than
pretty
on.
dedicated to him.
Yeah.
Did you get time with her? So it seems like it's a full-time job to take care of him.
Sometimes, yes, enough.
Yeah.
Because once you hit your teenage years, you don't want anything to do with your parents.
Right.
You're gone.
Right.
And I was gone. So
What was she like?
my mother,
Because I
She
heard
was witty and pretty smart. And she was witty. She had a good humor. So anyway,
I heard she was a kind woman
very,
and patient.
very, very. Well, you had to be to keep a child that had severe cerebral palsy rather than sticking them in a institution.
And I'd like to interject this. Medically, for him to live that long, because he was 52 when
Right.
he had to have had tremendous care.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I knew it was pretty severe when my mom told me the story that the time she was at their house,
Right.
she said that his mom, they all had pizza, and she had to chew up the food for him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, because before you had told me he was in a wheelchair, you didn't know what was wrong with him.
Right.
You thought he
just see a kid in a wheelchair. Yeah.
But she said, I think he might have been a quadriplegic,
Right.
maybe paraplegic. So that's a different ball game.
Right. The only he could move his head like this, and he could move his hands and his arms like this, and that's it. The rest was immobile.
So he could communicate.
No.
Well, why?
Well, he had maybe a 5-word vocabulary.
No, I mean, like, you could be like, do you want soup? And he could be like,
Yes and no
once
answers.
for yes, twice for no.
Yes and no answers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He could say yes or no. So
what was life like around the house? Because you said that your dad was funny because he was goofing on you all the time, and you said your mom was funny. Was there a lot of joking going around?
Right.
Was there a lot of laughing around the house?
Pretty much. We're pretty much an okay household.
That's good.
So.
And you started, what was the progression? Tennessee, Illinois? Where did it start?
Tennessee, Illinois, Tennessee, Illinois, and that's back and forth for 30-year period.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I told you I lived in Lockport and Lamont and Lisle and Bowling Green, Carpentersville, Island Lake, all over the place. South side of Chicago, north side, west side, old town, new town.
Why don't you tell us where you didn't live?
Exactly.
How many times do you think you moved in your life?
More than a year and a half. We never stayed in one place more than a year and a half.
And that was for 35 years, you said?
40.
40.
Maybe.
Christy, that's
You probably, 20 times then?
Could be.
sounds a lot like you.
Well, there were different reasons, though.
But still,
Oh, yeah.
in a constant state of transition.
Yeah, exactly.
But for us, for the most part, we stayed in the same neighborhood.
Okay. So you had, the same people.
Yeah, pretty much.
For-
I mean, the school might change, but you could just walk 4 more blocks and go back to where all your friends are.
Right. Where ours was city to city.
Right.
But you had a drastic change. You went from the suburbs living in a house to the city living in the hood.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
And being,
At 13.
in a completely different world.
Yeah, it's true.
What do you think of Christy?
I don't know what to think of her.
What do you mean?
I mean, she's another human being on the planet that I appreciate and I like. But we don't actually know each other.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with her. I'm comfortable with her.
Oh, that's good.
So
That sounds like a great start.
that that's
I already told you what I think.
that'll be $5.
I'm broke.
You better come stronger than that if you want money. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Start high and go low.
Right. Oh, can you tell us the story of joining the Army?
Oof. Well, I was 19 years old and there wasn't shit happening. Had hair down to my ass, wearing my Indian moccasin boots, farm out, smoking pot, taking LSD. I had an epiphany one day. Of course, back then I didn't even know what the word epiphany was. But I said to myself, at the very young age, I used to read Psychology Today because I had severe cases of sleepwalking. And anyway, one day I just said to myself, you know what? There's only two ways you're going to get off this block. You're either going to die here in a gunfight, or someone's going to kill you for whatever reasons. So you better leave. And I had no idea how to leave. No idea how to leave. I was 19. Jobs were plentiful. Had a car, I think. But I just decided. I was watching this movie with John Wayne, of course. The Fighting Seabees. So I said, well, I'll just go down and join the Army. So I remember getting my father and I said, hey, can you give me a ride? No, I didn't have a car then. He said, yeah. I said, well, he said, where? I said, 55th and Western. He said, what's over there? I said, I got a job interview. He said, okay. So he brought me over there. And when we walked into the Army recruiter, he's looking around going, what the? Of course, they're all standing up in there. They thought I'd come in to protest. Because my hair, you know.
And your moccasins.
My moccasins.
Do you have facial hair?
Like beads and a mustache.
You had beads in your beard?
No.
No,
Oh.
Rob's not.
I had a mustache and beads.
Oh.
You know, peace signs and
I was
all
like,
this shit.
Vikings.
And I walked in and said, I want to join the Army. And the guy went, oh, okay. So he said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to be a CB, combat engineer. And he said, okay, we can do that. He said, well, what else you want to do? I said, I want to be a paratrooper. He said, okay, we can do that. So I joined.
What did your dad say?
He was flabbergasted. He said, wow, I didn't expect that.
Didn't try to stop you though?
No.
Was he proud?
Huh?
Was he proud?
Yeah, actually he was. We went back to the house, and then 3 days later we had a party for me because I was leaving in 5 days.
Well, that's quick.
And all my friends came from everywhere, of course. There was, I don't know, about 200 people.
Wow.
But they all freaked out. Because I got friends that are bikers and gang members and college people and blue collar people, just everyone. So, yeah, so there it is. That's my Army story.
What's the secret to making all those friends?
Back then, a lot of good pot. No, I'm kidding.
I smoked everyone out. Of course they were my friends.
I'm kidding.
It's all right. By the time your great grandkids watch this, it'll all be legal anyway.
Right.
Well, so where did you do basic?
Fort Polk, Louisiana.
Nice and warm there, huh?
Yeah, that was called Little Vietnam because it was so swampy.
So it was from, yeah.
And they had a Vietnam village there that you could go learn how to go in and clear. So, and then I went from there to Fort Benning. No, I went from there to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri during the winter. And they called that Little Korea because it was so cold.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I got my first taste of pneumonia.
Oh, wow.
Because they had, my temperature was like 109. I was like dead.
Well, at 109,
And
yeah.
they put me in a bathtub full of ice for 2 hours at a time when they weren't pumping me full of fluids. They did that for 2 days, and I finally lived. And I remember being in the bunk. It was December 22nd. And that captain came in there and he said to the people in the room, he said, if you can walk or crawl or if anybody can drag you up here to sign out of the hospital to go home for Christmas, you can go.
Mhm.
So I did. I crawled up there, literally, and got on the bus and went home
Aw.
for Christmas. And, came back 2 weeks later and went to Fort Benning, Georgia, for jump school for a month. So, and then from there to Vietnam as a combat engineer for 6 months, and then 6 months as a door gunner on a helicopter.
I want to get to that, but explain what the combat engineer is.
Well, it's a little bit different than a regular engineer because it's got the preface in front of it that says combat.
That's important distinction.
It is, very.
It's all in the name.
Because we didn't, we would be attached to infantry units to build their roads or their housing or their this or their that before they were there. So some people would say, what do you mean? And I'd say, well, you know, the infantry goes into a place to settle it down and to make their presence known to the enemy. Yeah. Well, we go there before they go there.
So what are you physically doing?
We're building their housing and the roads and helipads and setting up mines and their perimeters and stuff. So that's what we did.
Weren't you going and doing some recon? Is that part of that job?
No, that wasn't part of that job. The only dangerous thing about that job was we got mortared a lot from the enemy.
That's all.
And what else? You know, the regular stuff. You know, malaria and snakes and, you know, snipers and shit.
Mhm.
So
the second.
What was your nickname?
Critter.
Oh yeah. Why? Thank you, Diane.
Well, thank you, Diane. Yeah.
I love you.
I was an FNG in Vietnam, my second week there. That means fucking new guy.
Oh, okay.
And
His couch is awkward.
the sergeant come up to me and said, grab your gas mask and a 45 and come with me. And I said, oh my God, he's going to make me a tunnel rat.
Oh,
I don't want to be a tunnel
I
rat.
don't think anybody wants to do that,
So
John.
I'm thinking as he's following me out toward the perimeter, I'm thinking, do I go to jail for this? Do I desert? How do I get out of this? So he brought me to this big barrel that was down in the ground, about 55-gallon drum, about this much of it sticking up from the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And next to it was a stick about as halfway up this wall,
Mm-hmm.
6-foot stick. And he said, see that kerosene? I said, yeah. He said, I want you to pour that kerosene in this shit barrel, light it up, put your mask on and stir the shit till it bakes down, till it's all just little critters. Critter.
Wow. Nice.
I
Like
don't get it.
Critter, that was my nickname, Critter.
he said
But what are the little critters?
The
just a
shit
little
that was boiled down,
little
burnt down.
clumps of
Oh,
poop.
it was
Crispy.
poop?
Yeah,
Oh!
there was shit in the barrel.
I thought it was just an empty barrel. He's like,
No.
yeah, put the kerosene and
No,
start.
I
I'm
was,
like,
I was
what is
relieved.
he doing?
I was relieved.
Ah.
I said, I can do that.
I don't have to be a tunnel rat. I'll stir the
I
burning
can
shit.
do that.
Officer, you got the right guy.
That's exactly.
Call me Critter.
And of course, the 45 was in case we got hit, then I could protect myself.
While you were stirring the shit.
Exactly.
The burning shit.
And you never stopped
And
stirring
got
the
in the
shit.
shit.
You never stopped stirring the shit till this day.
That's right. That's right.
But it's a
That's right.
burning
So
barrel
you know
of shit.
you can actually get on the net, and when you go to medals and awards
Mm-hmm.
and things that you get from the armies of all times,
Uh-huh.
they have a patch that says shit burner on. and they have another patch that shows a guy with a stick.
Why is that a
Oh.
thing? Like, what's the purpose of creating the critters?
To burn the ship.
Why?
To get rid of
To
it.
get rid of it?
Yeah.
Why not just dig a hole and dump it in?
Then you'd have, you got 50,000 troops. That's a lot of shit.
Oh, good
And
point.
that's a lot of people stepping on dirty, wet holes.
A lot
either.
of holes.
But that's also a lot of dudes standing around buckets stirring poop.
It is.
Fire
The
you.
ship brigade.
Sanitation is the thing that defines civilization.
Anyway, so I did that for 2 or 3 days till another FNG came in and he got the job.
All right, so I heard that's not the only bad job that you had while you were there. You got woke up in the middle of the night and got an assignment that you were telling me about.
Oh, that was my second job in Vietnam when I was a door gunner. Yeah, they had me go out drawing fire, which means I sit behind my machine gun in the helicopter, and the guy sits next to me with this big arc light and shines it down in the jungle so that the enemy can see him so he can shoot up at us. So we draw their fire so we can tell the enemy where they're at.
So you can locate them.
Yeah.
So your bait
Yeah.
to draw fire.
Yeah, exactly.
And then do you return fire?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right, so when Patrick watches this, if I don't get information on the artillery, I'll be reprimanded severely.
That's fine.
So what were you shooting?
M60 machine gun with a tripod.
So you carry the M16, right?
I didn't carry it. It sat on a tripod. I would take it off. It's an M60 with grips,
Right.
and you put it on the pole that swiveled. You put it on the pole, and I would sit on a seat behind it and swivel it this way and this way and this way. And under me on my seat would be about 3,000 rounds of ammo.
How long would it take? I mean, if you were just to go start
Full
to
out?
finish, yeah. How long would it take to go through that?
I don't know,
A few minutes?
3 minutes, 5 minutes, maybe. This, or the rate of a M60 machine gun, I don't know. Okay, Google, what's the rate of fire of an M60 machine gun?
500 to 650 SPM. On
Okay.
the website,
500 rounds a minute.
they say.
So 5 or 6 minutes you'd have gone through that.
Yeah.
Did you you had a mechanical failure at one point?
Yeah, we were coming back from an overrun village. It was our 5th run, and the tail rotor came off, and we crashed and landed in a pig pond. We did an auto rotation, and I was listening to Radio Saigon. You ever see the movie Good Morning Saigon with
Good Morning Vietnam?
Yeah, Good Morning Vietnam. There's a song called From, I think, Chicago, or Blood, Sweat, and Tears. There'll be one child left to carry on.
Okay.
But anyway, that was playing, and we got that tail rotor came off. So when we came down, he did an auto rotation, which means he popped it up. So he popped it up over this pig pen, and when he popped it up, he pulled the blades to the left, which made it go to the right, which flipped it over on its side in that pig pen.
Oh my.
No, that's a good thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the pig pen cushioned it, the water,
Mm.
so it didn't hit solid.
Oh, because I was thinking now y'all are upside down in water.
Yeah. That's right.
It's not very deep though, right?
No, it's a pig pen.
Right.
Pig pond. Not about that much.
Oh,
But enough that he knew it would cushion it.
right.
So
Better than land.
how much time passes between, oh my goodness, that rotor's out and
To the time
we're
we-
slopping down in the pig pen? And what goes through your mind?
2 minutes, I think, maybe 2 minutes. And we're doing a SOS, a Mayday. And I'm listening to that song in the background. I could see my parents at O'Hare Airport, and the coffin's coming in with the flag draped over it, with my body in it. I said, I'm dead. This is it, I'm dead. But we crashed, and we all got out, and the VC were coming out of the mountains like ants. because they like to capture American helicopters to get all the ammo and weapons off of there, and the officers.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't do anything with the enlisted men. They'd either work us to death or torture us to death, one or the other. So then we were on the ground maybe 5 minutes. They got about within, I'll say, 600-700 yards of us, and we were thumping them off. I mean, thumping them off because I carried an M79 grenade launcher. It's about this long. It looks like an oversized shotgun barrel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it carries a 40 millimeter shell, which is this long and that wide. And what you do is you break it open, put the shell in it, close it, cock it, shoot it, and it goes boom. And then it goes out, and it's a proximity round. And whatever it hits, then it blows up.
Like a grenade
Yeah, it's a grenade
launcher.
type. But if I were to, I could from the stop sign down there, I could aim and hit this house here, because I got
pretty
really
far.
Yeah, and it would blow this house up.
What?
Yeah,
Would blow up this entire home.
yeah.
Huh.
It's a
That's
40
a lot of damage.
40 mic. Yeah. Well, maybe just half.
Mm.
Yeah, I think maybe half.
Huh.
But anyway, I remember, you know, stuff I'd been in while it was happening, I'm fine, but afterwards I'm shaking my ass off.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we get back, and then about 3 days later, I remember that sergeant come into the hooch and said, "Critter, we got a new helicopter for you." I said, "No, I'm not going." He said, "We always fly." I said, "No, I'm not doing it. I'll go to Long Bend jail. I'm not going." I said, "I'm short. Leave me the hell alone." Short is a term in the military that means you have less than 30 days left.
Oh, you're about to leave.
Yes, 30
So you're
days.
telling dude, I'm about to escape this hell.
So
and you want
the
me
other people that are around you, now you may not understand this, but he picked up right on it right away. If you're new in country,
Mm-hmm.
that means you have less than 30 days, or you've been there a month or 2 months, and you're around somebody that's short,
Mm-hmm.
that's got less than 30 days left to go,
Right.
you figure their ratio of them getting killed is a lot higher than yours,
Right.
because they've been there longer. So you don't want to be around them.
Oh.
If you're around and a short,
Yeah,
you're going to get picked.
right, because
They're
they're
not.
going to get hit.
Anything dangerous, they're not giving it to the shorts because they're getting ready to go home.
Right.
So if you're in a room full of shorts, you got the short end of the straw.
Yeah.
Oh, so what you're saying is they would avoid you.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, because they don't want to be in that.
Yeah, that's
he's
why
not getting picked group.
Yeah, that's why that movie with Defoe.
Platoon.
Huh?
Platoon.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
you know, with Defoe and Charlie Sheen,
Mm-hmm.
to where the one guy that was the asshole sergeant's running buddy. Remember, he said, "I want you to blah, blah, blah." He said, "Oh, man, don't make me do that. I'm short." He said, "No, you go out there and you do that shit." "No, come on, don't make me do that. I'm short." He would have never done that.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't have sent him down. That's Hollywood.
Right.
Which reminds me, I was going to tell you, if you've ever read, I know you've seen the movie, Rambo.
Mhm.
Rambo.
Didn't read it, seen it.
If you read the book, it was out almost 2 years before they made the movie,
Okay.
or more, the ending is different. Way different. Hugely different.
Well, what is it?
So different that you would want to read the book.
Even me?
Yes.
I don't know. That's a big ask.
But the book's only this big.
I might jump out of an airplane
Still
before I read a
bad.
book.
I can be trying to convey information.
Do you want me to tell you what it is?
Yes, please.
Sure,
It's
I'll
a
put a
spoiler.
I'll put a spoiler alert in the video so that
It's a
anybody who
spoiler.
hasn't seen or read Rambo
Right,
in 50 years.
right.
Go ahead.
He asked the colonel to kill him,
What?
and the colonel kills him.
Well, I guess there goes Rambo 2.
The colonel's the guy that shows up at the end to try to talk him down
Yeah.
because he's just so PTSD'd out.
Yep.
He's just like, just kill me, bro.
You don't understand, John Rambo.
Oh, wow.
He said, I'm not going back to civilization. I'm not doing it. He said, and if you make me go back, he said, I will kill everybody. He said, kill me. So
And he really identified with that, huh?
Yeah, so he did. So the colonel killed him.
So there never would have been anything else.
No.
So I have a couple of questions.
No
now.
more Rambos.
And I don't want to forget them.
Can I
Awesome.
pause? I'm going to start.
Sure, but
I'm going to start a new video.
Please write this down because if I